today we have a really special training, Fragrance Fundamentals. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Villegas. I'm your JAFRA Beauty Pro, and I'm also part of the communications team. Joining me backstage, we have my lovely co-host, Monica Barrera, and today I would like to also introduce a really special guest. Joining us today, we have our expert, Alicia Vicentin Aguilar, who is our Fragrance Innovation Manager at JAFRA. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you,
Perfect.
Alicia.
Happy New Year for all of you. I'm very happy to join this meeting and to have this training with you to let you know more points, very important points that will be help you to sell a lot of fragrance and more happy, more easy, and more close to your consumer. Each of fragrance that will be explained today.
Thank you so much, Alicia. We appreciate you joining us today. And I know our JAFRA Beauties as well. And fragrance is always a great topic. We like to learn more, and we're going to go with the presentation. Are you ready, Alicia?
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Well, Alicia, can you tell us what are fragrances? Tell us more about that.
Yes, well, the fragrance is this perfect extra point or extra thing that you can use to express your unique style. It's very important to know that JAFRA's fragrance are unique. We made and we developed with the very special fragrance houses, and each of our fragrance is formulate only for JAFRA. Okay, this point is very important to know. So the fragrance is that I mentioned, and a special and unique point that helps us to have a special style. Can you go to the other, please?
The word perfume comes from the Latin phrase per, meaning thorough, and phomos, meaning smoke. The first form of perfume was incense and was used by Mesopotamians about 4,000 years ago. Around 3000 BC, incense became really popular in Egypt, but it was exclusively used in religious rituals. The ancient Greeks can take credit for the first liquid perfume, but it was the Arabs who perfected the art of distillation, which made perfume manufacture widely viable. Perfume then enjoyed huge success during the 17th century, especially in France, because hygiene really stank in those days, and people used it to kind of mask their unpleasant body odors. In England, perfumes really took off because during the reigns of Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth I, who could not stand bad smells, public places were literally scented. Chanel No. 5 was the first perfume created by applying modern chemical principles and the first to contain synthetics. And fun fact, eau de cologne was invented by an Italian barber in the 18th century in a German city of Cologne. Hence the name Cologne, because that's how the French pronounce the city.
This is such an informative video, Alicia. Can you tell us more about that? That this video was highlighting the history of perfumery, right?
Yes, it's very important to know that the history of perfume since the beginning, the most important point for that is ingredients. In all of the fragrance, maybe you can use flowers, fruits, and another thing that you can find in the nature since the beginning of the history and today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alicia, for sharing that video. And I can tell our JAFRA Beauties are also going to learn more about the history of perfumery. So right now we're going to dive more in terms of fragrance concentration guide. What you can tell us about this, Alicia? Oh, I think you're on mute, Alicia. Your audio?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
So it's very important to know the different kind of fragrance that we have actually in our portfolio. Why? Because when this knowledge, you can explain to your consumers the timing, the long lasting that you can have in each of our fragrance. For example, we can have the less concentration that is the eau de colognes, for example, eau d'arômes. Eau d'arômes is some of our fragrance in this part that it's eau de cologne. Maybe the long lasting, it's more or less between 2 or 3 hours, or well, 2 hours, more or less. After that, we have the eau de toilette. the most famous eau de toilette that we have in our current portfolio is Dove Nature and Navigo. So you can have a long lasting between 2 or 3 hours in this case. And in case for all perfume, we have, for example, Adoris and Perfumers Edition. That is in our current portfolio. This kind of brands have this long lasting between 4 or 5 hours. Okay, it's very important know this differentiation between all of our brands to explain to our consumer the long lasting and the concentration from the oils.
Thank you so much, Alicia. And also to remind our JAFRA beauties that, for example, if you really check your brochure and your catalog, you can see right behind our fragrances, right? If it's EDP, so they can also know more about the description of the product.
Correct.
Following now, Alicia, to the pyramid of a fragrance. What is this? Can you tell us more information about this?
Sure. The pyramid of fragrance is the description as it is for the fragrance. In the fragrance, we have 3 different moments. The first moment that you have when you use the fragrance is the top notes. These top notes is the first smell that you have for the fragrance. For example, in the fragrance, you can find in the top notes some citrus notes that orange or lemon and some other fruits, for example, apple fruit or some another ones. In case of the hair notes, that it's the middle notes for the complete experience for the fragrance, you can find some aromatic notes, lavender, or some another fragrance that have in the core of the fragrance that have a medium long lasting. And in the end from the experience that when you use a fragrance is the base note. The base note is this note that it's more deep, you have more long lasting in the skin. For example, you have some woods, leather, or amber notes in this part.
Thank you, Alicia. Also, in our brochure and our catalog, we can see the top, heart, and base notes of each of our fragrance. So our JAFRA beauties can learn all of the ingredients they have and why they are so unique, right?
Correct. So unique. And you can have, for example, and can you go back, please? You can have a different example in the pyramid of the fragrance. For example, you can have the same top note in 2 different fragrances, but in the heart have a different ingredients. And this is the part that have this uniqueness smell between one fragrance and the other ones.
Great to know. Thank you, Alicia. And who creates fragrances? Tell us more about who are behind the scenes, who are the perfumers.
This is very important since the beginning from this conversation. I talk about the fragrance houses. We work with the best fragrance houses in the world, the 3 of these best fragrance houses. And in the fragrance houses works the perfumers. Who is the perfumers? And important to that, the perfumers is these people or this person that mix all the ingredients to create this special fragrance for us. Okay, these people mix natural ingredients plus some synthetic ingredients and give us this special feeling for each of the fragrance.
Thank you, Alicia. So here, perfumers, what they really do is engaging in research, laboratory work, marketing, and commercialization. And some of their key tasks include selecting and combining their aromas to craft the perfume's formulation of a recipe. And as you said, some of raw materials, synthetic and natural ingredients. And they also mix natural and reconstitution ingredients as lily of the valley, violet, or fruits. So the perfumers are really key people to create our unique fragrances.
Correct.
And right now, Alicia, you're going to help us share our USA top 5 female perfumes. And our JAFRA fragrances are unique, but right now, currently, you are talking about notes. And based on the notes, right now, when you're going to tell us more about these perfumes, also, can you share what JAFRA fragrances or JAFRA beauties can love if they enjoy any of these fragrances?
Correct. For example, the first place in the top of 5 female perfumers in the US is Coco Mademoiselle. Coco Mademoiselle for Chanel was made a lot of years ago, but keep this fragrance very lovely for the consumers in general. If you like, for example, pastel, the regular one, you can use or you can love Coco Mademoiselle. In the second place, we have Born in Roma for Valentino. These notes that have this fragrance have a lot of flowers, fruits, and if you like, for example, tender moments sexy, you will be love Born in Roma. In the third place, we have Chance Eau Tender, the Chanel. This fragrance is more clean, it's very fruity, it's very young. If you like, for example, Art Life for JAFRA or like Tender for Dove Nature, you can love Chance or Tender for EDP. In our fourth place, we have La Vie Belle de Lancôme. This fragrance, it's have 30 years that maybe, yes, 30 years that was their launching. If you like, for example, Adoris Classic, you can love La Vie Belle. And in the fifth place, but it's not less, it's Good Girl for Carolina Herrera. If you like, for example, Adoris Passion, it's very similar to Good Girl. As I mentioned since the beginning, we like a innovation team in JAFRA. We developed with the fragrance houses and a specific and uniqueness fragrance, but we can have some inspiration for the top 5 and the prestige fragrance that have in the market.
Great, Alicia. So always JAFRA working with the best of the best. That's why we always have this great catalog of options as well. Thank you so much for letting us know on how base notes and everything works. So we have this great catalog of options.
Correct.
And now going to the top 5 male perfumes. What can you tell us about this, Alicia?
It's the same case for male fragrance. In the top 5, we have in the first place Savage for Dior. That it's very close to Legend Privé for our fragrance. We have Blue Chanel number 2 that it's very close to Navigo Classic. We have YSL for YSL. And in this case, we have Navigo Ocean. It's very, very close. We have Agua de Gio in 4th place, and you can find other arms men to in our current portfolio for that. And in 5th place, this one launching 2 years ago, and it's myself to YSL too. This fragrance it's very similar to Double Nature Men.
Great, Alicia. Thank you so much for sharing the options on also the men's catalog that they're also really popular and that we also have options for her and for him.
Correct.
So now following with the presentation, Alicia, tell us more about perfume houses. What are those?
Yes, well, that I mentioned perfume houses or fragrance houses. It's the companies that help us to make these special oils, and the perfumers work in these fragrance houses or perfumers houses.
Great, Alicia. So we're following with this presentation, and right now we'll learn about perfume houses. And following with this, we're going to learn more about how JAFRA works with these perfume houses and the art of smelling. We're going to deep dive in the different scents, right, Alicia? And you can tell us more about each one.
Correct.
Okay.
So the art of smell. We have a different olfactic families. So, for example, the most common is the citrus one. These citrus families include ingredients like bergamot, like orange, like grapefruit, like lemon, and it's very bright. The fragrance that have this olfactic family are fragrance happy, fresh, dynamic, very, very fresh. For example, we have Navigo Ocean.
Great. So in this family, Navigo Ocean, it's what falls in the citrus. And we can also let our JAFRA beauties know that this is the oldest of all olfactory families, right, Alicia?
Correct.
Great. Following with the next slide, we have the green. What can we tell our JAFRA beauties about this scent?
This olfactic family, the green notes, give you the feeling that you are in the within the nature, give these aromas that help us to feel more close to the nature and more fresh at the same time, cool, and in outdoors. For example, we have double nature peace, but at the same time we have double nature fresh, and other double natures include these green notes.
And the green notes, Alicia, have become really trendy in the mid 20th century. What do you think this has been a trend?
Because you feel young and you feel fresh and more clean. So I think some of these trends that have in the industry, in the fragrance industry, is feel clean, and it's important for the green notes.
One example of our current catalog is our Double Nature Peace EDT, right?
Correct.
Great. And right now we're going to follow with our next olfactory family, that it's the aquatic. And we want to share with all of our JAFRA Beauty some examples that right now Alicia is going to go deep dive in the aquatic family. But some examples we have Eau d'Aromas Paradise, Double Nature Angel, JFA Blue 2.0, Eau d'Aromas Own, and Super Skid that are amazing, amazing scents. But Alicia, tell us more about the aquatic olfactory family. What can we learn about this?
The feeling that gives this aquatic olfactic family is feel in the ocean or feel water in nose. And what is that? Is you feel maybe in the beach and you feel the water, and it's this kind of feeling very close to the water. That at the same time, for the green notes, give you this feeling for clean, no? Other example for aquatic note, for example, is that you can find in channel L'Eau de Chanel from Men's that I mentioned in a couple of minutes ago.
And we know that these are transparent, fresh, natural, everything that resembles, right, Alicia, that the ocean aquatic. And in the meantime, Alicia, when we're going to learn about the new olfactory family, we just want to let our JAFRA Beauty know that we are reading your messages right now. We want to say hello to everyone that is sharing their messages with us. And we can let you know, Alicia, that, for example, Sylvia is telling us that this is a very informative presentation. So thank you so much for joining us today and learning more about fragrances. So following up with the next olfactory family, Alicia, aromatic.
Aromatic is very special olfactic family. The key ingredient for aromatic is the lavender, the sage, the rosemary. This kind of fragrance give us this special accord and building the fougere family. And the more uniqueness and important fragrance that we have in this fougere olfactic family is Navigo On.
Perfect. And in this olfactory family, Alicia, we have, for example, herbs, fruits, and spices like sage, rosemary, thyme, grapefruit, melon, and anise that really contribute to this modern and masculine freshness. That's why we see this olfactory family in all of our masculine fragrances, right?
Correct. And for example, some of our fragrance in GF9 brand, it's fougere too. So it's very, very masculine, have this power and seductive note at the same time.
Great, Alicia. So following with our next olfactory family, we have fruity. So this is, I think, really popular. And right now you're going to tell us more about this.
Fruity family, it's very popular. It's very liking to all the age. Doesn't matter if you have 10 years or have 20 years or 15 or whatever. The fruity family, it's very common and it's very easy to use. All of our double nature fragrance are fruity something. It's very important to know that all the fragrance have two family or maybe three family at the same time. For example, you can have a fragrance that is fruity floral or fruity citrus. Or fruity floral citrus, no? So because you can have this mixing between the olfacting family and give the to the DNA for each of fragrance, no? For example, the most common and the most popular fruity fragrance that we have in our current portfolio is Double Nature and Paris et Moi.
Great, Alicia. And for example, right now with what you're telling us, these notes are used more like accents, right? So they can create like a fresh, youthful, vibrant, and playful character to fragrances. That's why I think they're so popular and people really enjoy these fragrances.
Yes, and the fruity notes give at the same time these funny notes, this young and this crispy and crunchy feeling when you use the fragrance.
Great, Alicia. So following with our next olfactory family, we have floral that I think it's going to be one of our favorites because it's really delicate, it's happy, it's intense. And what can you tell us, Alicia, about this olfactory family?
Well, the floral family is the more old family, no, that I mentioned in the beginning from this conversation, and the history for the fragrance start with with the flowers. So the floral family is the most old, but today is still current in our consumer. You know, when you mix floral and flurry, it's the more common and more popular olfactive family. Um, Floral family is more sophisticated, it's more delicate, it's more at the same time luxurious, so it's very important to have in our current portfolio. So for example, Pastel Bomb that we launched in a couple of years ago, it's a floral, and the Blossom brand, the complete Blossom brand, have the floral too.
Great, Alicia. Thank you so much. And florals, I bet they're really popular as well. And right now, with all of our newest seasons, they're really popular, right? To resemble all of the seasons coming now.
Correct.
Now we have spiced, Alicia. So these are really great fragrances. I think they're strong because they have character and also they're warm, right?
Correct. And the most common part in the spice is use some cinnamon notes, and can warm fragrance. The spice is it's synonym, or it's the same for warm fragrance. For example, you can found this kind of notes in Dove Nature Devil that we launched in 1 year ago, and in Skid Row.
Thank you, Alicia. So this olfactory family, it's kind of interesting because it's maybe based on the spices that it's commonly used in cooking, right?
Correct. Yes.
Great. So following with our next olfactory family, we have woody.
Well, woody, that the name of the family mentioned, is this note of woody as it is. This kind of fragrance, it's not only for men. Maybe in the past years, you feeling that the woody fragrance it's only for men, but no. Today we can mix good notes and fruity notes and create a very special fragrance. For example, Double Nature Wild, that give us this warm feeling, that give us the woody notes, but at the same time have this femininity and funny part of shadow from the fragrance that give us the fruit version. So it's very important to know that the woody, it's not only fragrance for men. You can have some woody notes in the woman's fragrance.
With all of the innovation, right, Alicia, now the woody olfactory family is both like masculine and feminine. We can find great options for both men and women, and that they're really warm, alluring, and rich.
Correct.
Great. And following with that presentation, we have musky.
Correct. This family, it's a little bit complicated to explain because it's a special synthetic notes. This kind of olfactic family help us to feel like a fragrance, like a second skin. You know, it's very like my clothes. It's very, it's this feeling for my clothes is musky aroma. So it's a little bit complicated to explain.
We know that musk is essential in perfumery, right, Alicia, because of its key properties of
Yeah,
long-lasting presence and the ability to enhance the diffusion of other scents, right?
correct.
And a little bit of history for JAFRA beauties that in ancient times, musk was extracted from the musk deer, which it was native from the Himalayas, right, Alicia?
Correct. It's a very funny history that I mentioned. This extract or this ingredient is synthetic, so it's very complicated to understand and explain. but give the fragrance this second skin feeling and give to help us to have a very long lasting in the fragrance.
Great, Alicia, thank you. And following with our presentation, we also have balsamic.
Well, balsamic is these special notes that give us the sensuality in the fragrance. Have a mixing between balsam and vanillas with a special feeling, and the balsamic note gives, if you're thinking in golf, what you thinking smell the golf? Well, not for balsamic notes, it's the feeling that smell the golf. So
it's like an expensive olfactory family.
Correct. It's very sophisticated.
Thank you, Alicia. And some example are our Adoris Night EDP and also our Double Nature Rock EDT.
Correct.
Great. Thank you, Alicia. So following with our presentation, we have the amber. I think this is really a great olfactory family because it gives us substance, softness, and warmth, right?
Correct. And the amber family give us this longevity of the fragrance. You smell like a goody. It's a mixing between goody notes and a gold notes and amber notes, So the fragrance that have amber notes give us this longevity and give us these classic notes in the fragrance. For example, they
Legend EDT, that is one of our favorites. And right now, Alicia, we have a fun activity for our JAFRA beauties. We want to see how much they have learned from this training. And we're going to go to a quick Q&A questions for them. It's like a fun trivia. Are you ready, Alicia?
Sure, go ahead.
Great. So our first question, we have myths and facts of fragrances. Our first one is, after wearing the same fragrance for a while, do we stop perceiving its scent? What do you think, Jafra Beauties? Let us know in the comments. And right now, Alicia here, our expert, is going to tell us the answer. We're going to give some time. In the meantime, thank you so much for Jafra Beauties for joining this special training. And thank you, Alicia, because we have learned so much in the fragrance world. It's really interesting.
I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, Alicia. In the meantime, let us know what is the answer for this question. It's true.
Correct. This is very common when you use fragrance every day, and your feelings already feel that the fragrance is part of you, and this is the reason that maybe you don't feel that still smell, or the long lasting is less since the beginning that you use or you start using this fragrance. But it's because you're feeling. But if you're asking to other people, the other people will be saying, "Oof, you smell very well."
Our next question, Alicia. Your sense of smell is directly linked to memory and emotion?
I love this question.
Let us know. I think it could be true, but I may be wrong. We don't know. We're going to find the answer right now. And the answer, it's true. Yes.
Yes, it's very important. The sense of a smell is it's linking with the memory and emotion. And I have an example. For example, if you're thinking maybe in your grandma, no, maybe you smell some rose, but mixing with, no, I don't know, maybe cookies, no, because she's still in the kitchen or something of that. And when you're thinking in that, you maybe have a huge for your grandma. So it's very important, and it's very common to close the emotion with the smell.
That's why also fragrances, they're so unique, right? Because they bring us memory and emotions, and that is what makes them so special.
Correct.
Our next question, Alicia, does perfume change according to skin type? This is really important because we have learned from this. So what do you think? It could be true or could be false? And the answer is true. Why, Alicia?
Yeah, it's very important because the pH for the skin from the people, it's different. So the pH help us to change or make change in the fragrance. At the same time, to the long lasting. It's very important to let know to our consumers that the special pH that have in each skin is different. So maybe if you like to use some fragrance, but your I don't know, some of your friends use, don't smell the same because the pH is different.
Great, Alicia.
Actually, the thing that you eat, the quantity of water that you drink in the day, modify or change your pH in the skin.
Great, Alicia. So definitely pH has a lot to do with the perfume in our skin type. And our next question is, does skin type affect the duration of the perfume? We're going to know in a little bit. So the answer for this question is true too. Why, Alicia?
It's the point that I mentioned in the other question. The kind of skin help us to have more long lasting or less. Actually, the hydration or the hydrating in your skin, it's very important to have a very good lasting in the fragrance.
Great, Alicia. Thank you so much for sharing this information, because I think these two previous questions are really typical. We listen to them a lot, right? So thank you so much for going in depth on learning why are those true. And our next question is, does perfume changes with temperature? I think this could be false, maybe, but right now Alicia is going to give us that correct answer, and the answer is true.
It's true. Actually, it's very important to keep in a cold space or in a cold space the fragrance, because, for example, with a high temperature, change the fragrance and the oils, and at the same time change the color in the fragrance. So it's very important to keep the fragrance in a good ambience.
Great, Alicia. So just to confirm this information, so our fragrances have to be stored in room temperatures, because definitely they're prone to temperature changes, right?
Yes, and that I mentioned, change the olfactive and the color.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Alicia. And our last question on this trivia is, should you smell coffee between perfumes to perceive better scents? This happened a lot, right? Because when we're perfume searching for perfumes, it's really typical that they give you this coffee coffee aroma, so you can distinguish every scent. So is this true or false? We're going to
No. It's
false.
false. No.
Why, Alicia?
No. It's the most bigger false thing to do in the fragrance. Why? Because the coffee only cover the other smells or the other notes that you have. Don't clean, only cover. So it's not. No, it's completely false. Please don't do it.
What would be, Alicia, a better solution for this? For example, if you want to try
You can,
different
yeah,
scents.
sure. If you, for example, smell a lot of fragrance, don't smell coffee. You need to smell this part from your arm. Okay? To clean to clean it.
So you can do that between smelling different scents,
Correct.
right? Great tip. So besides learning about the fundamentals, we're also learning some techniques. Thank you so much, Alicia, for joining
Thank you.
this training. We learned so much from you. And thank you to all our JAFRA beauties. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have an excellent year. Bye. Bye.